Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. Oh, my goodness. Another week we get to be above ground. I'm Dr. Barnsley Brown, and I am super excited today to have an incredible guest, Melissa Chada, who is a business owner who knows all about gut health. And she's also a Reiki master in training in yours truly's class. I love having you in there, Melissa. So,
Oh,
first
thank
of
you so
all, we're
much.
coming. Yeah. First of all, I just want to give you a second to share a bit about you and what you do in as a living and what you do in your business.
Well, as you can see, there's like a cello back there, so I'm a cellist, but I also coach people. Uh, I'm I am partnered with a company that is all about gut health and reducing inflammation and balancing blood sugars. And so I coach people in how to use these supplements, and we have a whole variety of people on our team, from nurses to doctors, personal trainers. I mean, so there's so much help that we can offer people to regain their health and vitality and energy. And I'm also, for several years now, have been going through your Reiki training. And so I offer Reiki both in person and distance. And now I'm in your Reiki mastership class, and I am just loving it.
Well, something that I think is so wonderful about you, Melissa, that I could see from the very moment I met you is that you really care about people and you really care about everyone feeling great and having energy. And I
Yeah.
actually remember, when I'm getting chills as I say that, I remember when you and I met and we were in a women's networking group. And I remember us just going out and talking in between our cars, basically, for the longest time. And it was a time that was really hard for you because you had lost your father. And I had actually, I believe at that time, no, I hadn't lost my brother yet, right?
Not yet. Mm-mm.
Not yet, but you had lost your father, and I just remember you sharing about that journey with me. And I know that one of the reasons you were drawn to Reiki is because you knew there were some things that you wanted to heal around your relationship with him, and also your relationship with your family. Your
Right.
husband, your children. I just remember you being really open and receptive to healing in your family. So tell us a little bit about how Reiki has actually impacted your relationships with your family and also helped you heal some of the grief with your
Okay.
father's passing.
At that time in my life, I was my dad's caregiver. I had
Mm,
been my mom's caregiver, but my dad was a special snowflake. I mean, he had expressive aphasia and dementia, and I was one of the few people who could kind of understand what he was trying to communicate. But it was really hard. His death was very fast, and
mm,
he went into kidney failure very fast. I had to make a decision to cut off, all food and liquids, and I had a lot of guilt associated with that. Um, Also, because I was caregiving, um, I I was very angry. I had lots of
yeah.
emotions. I was very impatient with my family. And that is not my innate
Mm,
personality. And it pained me so much. And I knew that something had to change. And I could go,
mm.
traditional therapy, but I was really drawn to Reiki because I had experienced it before. You know, my first Reiki treatment was 25 years ago. And
I think
and so
that's
I
so
had
cool.
yeah. And so I had researched Reiki and other energy modalities, and I've always been into holistic health. And so when I talked to you, something just clicked and I was drawn to you. And I knew that um, that I I could get the help I needed to help myself. And of course, my passion is to help others as well. And so I entered your Reiki 1 class. And, Reiki 1 class with you is, I mean, I'm sure it's not like other Reiki classes out there. It's like
That's very true.
I mean, it's like a really big support group. We dive deep into what we're going through and what we need to shed to be able to help and serve others most effectively. And so you asked how it helped with my grief. We dove really deep into my grief, and
And the
I
guilt that
and
you
the
were
guilt
talking about
and the guilt.
around your
Yeah. And
father's
so
death too. Yeah,
yeah, because I felt like I had pulled the trigger and I had, you know,
right.
brought
You
his
felt
death.
responsible.
I felt responsible. Yeah.
And see, I want to pause you for a second because I just want to
Mhm.
say for everyone who's watching or going to watch this, so often when we have a loved one pass, those of us who are here still feel guilty. We're like, why am I here and they're not? This certainly happened to me with my brother. Why am I still here and he's not? He was just 2 years older than me. And
Mhm.
so it's a powerful thing to realize there's that, survivor guilt. And also, certainly to have something that you can do for yourself so you don't feel helpless, because loss is a part of life, right, Melissa? I mean, we
Oh,
all lose people and animals we love. And so I just thought it was so courageous of you. I remember in Reiki 1, you really deeply went into your grief and talk about shedding. I love that word you use, shedding. You shed so much stuff in
I
Reiki
did.
level 1. You just came out of there so radiant. It was like all these burdens had come off of you. The
I
burden of
felt that too.
caregiving, and
Hmm.
caregivers are so stressed. Of course, you got irritated and angry, right? Because it's so stressful. So I just really appreciate that you shared vulnerably about your dad and about the caregiving and how it was impacting you. You were getting impatient and feeling, I'm imagining you felt, kind of irritated
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
everyone wanted something from you
Right.
and there
Right.
was
And
nothing
so,
to give to you.
hmm, right. Exactly. And so through Reiki, I mean, I just was able to, I learned some tools, through Reiki to when those feelings would start creeping up,
Yeah,
to help them, to help dissipate them and to shed them. And
such a good word.
I became more like myself again.
Yeah.
Um, I became much more patient and, my most authentic self, loving again
Mm.
and caring and compassionate. Yeah.
It's so powerful. One of our Reiki principles is today I will be kind to every living creature. And another one is today I will let go of anger.
Right, right. And
Right?
I look at the Reiki principles every day, and I certainly use those too during Reiki 1. But now the ones that most resonate to me is today I will accept my many blessings.
Mm,
Um, because and that's a mindset shift. But when you start looking at your blessings and you journal them or write them down, you'll see that the world is such a glorious and beautiful place and supportive place. And when you focus on the positive expands and you get more of that in your life. So that is just such a beautiful principle that I love.
I love that. Today I will accept my many blessings. And as you so aptly put it, when we focus on those blessings, it creates more of them. We become a magnet for them. We become a
Mhm.
blessing magnet, right?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
we could call it a BM, but not not. We're a
Hey, I'm
blessing
all about
magnet.
that in my gut health business.
I know you do. Your gut health business is great, by the way. I just have to say, for those of you who are watching, I love I take ProBio 5. I'm just gonna say this. This will be Barnsley's little commercial insert for you, but I love my ProBio 5. Yeah, hold it up so they can see it. I
We have
love
new
that stuff.
branding, so we have much
It's
prettier bottles
a
now. But
fabulous prebiotic and probiotic. And I have used pre for a long time. And those of you who are watching, you know, some of them are way better than others. And this is just a great one. I wouldn't go without it. I take it every night. Sometimes I'll take it in the morning, take one in the morning. And it just really is so good. You know, there's all this stuff all over the news about the microbiome, right, Melissa?
yeah.
And that our health is dependent on having a healthy microbiome, which means we've got the good bacteria outweighing the bad bacteria that gets destroyed by antibiotics, et cetera, you know, by fast food and processed food and toxins and, you know, all that stuff. So, you know, I know you love gut health. And how do you see Reiki going along also with your interest in gut health? What have you noticed and what have you heard from others about how Reiki helps with their gut and feeling better in their gut?
Well, you know, your gut is your second brain. Okay. It also, in your gut, you create um, most of the serotonin and dopamine, which are your feel good, you know, hormones.
Yeah.
And so Reiki, you know, Reiki treatments help you feel calm. They help you heal. It balances your vagus nerve. I mean, and your
Yes.
vagus nerve travels from your brain to your gut and sends signals throughout your entire body. Gut health helps to do the same thing. So, I
Mhm.
mean, for me, the two are so connected. And if people are working
Yeah.
on their gut health, or I mean, gosh, you can just Google like migraines and gut health or eczema and gut health or whatever your problem is, and you'll
Yes.
see, you know, how improving your gut health. But Reiki can be an intricate part in that journey for you as well.
And see, this is what I love is because you're incorporating it with your plexus that you share with everyone. And you can take Reiki and incorporate it with anything that you're doing for good health. You
Mhm.
know, with
Right.
meditation, you can incorporate it with supplements that you're taking. You can incorporate it with traditional allopathic medicine because they actually have shown
Correct.
in many studies that wounds and surgical wounds, all of that heals so much faster when you have Reiki. And you know, a lot of people don't realize this, Melissa, but Reiki is used in over 800 hospitals. And I'll tell you that right
When
down the street at Duke, there's
At Duke,
Reiki.
I
There are
was
people
like
Reiki.
so amazed when I heard that. Yeah, that's so incredible. That's really wonderful. I love that it's
So is there a
becoming
better
a little
name
more
than like Duke?
mainstream. Right. Yeah.
Yes. Because when I started taking Reiki in the 90s, I'll tell you, I thought it was the weirdest thing ever. And it took me a car accident to get into all that. But people can go on my YouTube channel and hear that whole story of how I had a car accident. I was not open to it before. So I think what's wonderful is that you, Melissa, were open to it. And like you said, you had that first treatment 25 years ago.
Hmm.
And what have you noticed? You know, Reiki has a cumulative effect. We know that just like your gut health, you know, taking your probiotics and your supplements every day has a cumulative effect. So, what have you seen in your own body and spirit as you do your Reiki? Because I know you do your Reiki self treatment consistently.
Oh yeah. And yeah, and these modalities, whether it's supplementation or Reiki, doing them consistently, you will see
Mm.
greater and faster and longer lasting results. So when I do, you know, doing what have I seen? Okay, your question was what have I seen? Um, I have seen
What have
increased
you noticed in
vitality,
yourself and
increased,
others?
yeah, yeah, increased energy, less
Mm,
pain. Um,
nice.
yeah, I have treated people with chronic pain and I have helped to reduce that
Mm,
pain, or the Reiki has helped to
wonderful.
reduce that pain. Um,
Yeah.
self I have a friend that I've done Reiki on, and she is more self-confident, you know? I mean,
Mm,
and it brings a sense of calm. I mean, yeah, I absolutely love it. I love how I feel when I do Reiki consistently on myself, more energized, um, more calm. Um, I have had over the last year, I have sprained both of my ankles and both of my
oh my
wrists.
goodness.
And so I have done Reiki on them, like if I have a pain flare up, and it really
Mm.
helps. It really helps the pain. Yeah.
It's amazing what it can do for our joints
Hmm.
and our, you know, it really is amazing.
Yeah.
And I know there was a point where I was having issues. I am quote unquote, I have osteoporosis, but not osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, I mean.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
at one time I was just having so much knee pain and I just kept raking it and raking it. Because the great thing is I can sit here like I'm doing Reiki on my knees right now while we're talking. And eventually, it took a little while, but eventually it just was like it abated. And I like to say something earlier, is that it does when we do things like supplementation and Reiki, they are not immediate, usually band-aids like Western medicine. Your
Right.
condition that you have didn't get there overnight, you know,
Exactly.
unless you sprained your ankle, like as you
Right.
did, that was bad.
Right.
But
It
if
takes
you have a
time to heal.
condition, right,
Your
if you have a
body was
condition that
designed to
has
heal itself, but it takes time and consistency for your body to heal from the inside out. Yeah, definitely.
and it takes consistency with everything, if you're gonna go to the gym, you don't just go one time and say, "Well, I went to the gym, now I'm healthy." And so I really
Right.
like to preach to my students that you do it daily and you give to yourself first so that
Hmm.
then your well is replenished and you can just share it out and it ripples out, which you do so beautifully, Melissa, and
Oh, thank
everything
you.
that you do. You just ripple out that calm serenity and that love, and the
Hmm.
caring that you bring to your clients is huge. I know there are times that I've sent you a message and I'm just got too much to do and I'm like, could you just go in and get that taken care of for me? And you're like, sure. And let me just say the messages are late at night a lot of times because that's when I think about it. um, you're just so caring and thoughtful and responsive to your clients. So I just, and I'm really thrilled that I have that probiotic and prebiotic from you. So I want to ask, let's see, what could I ask you that I think would be powerful? And that would be, now I know you're in Reiki Mastership and that's
Yes.
a longer commitment. But Reiki 1 is just over a weekend, and you can be certified in Reiki 1, which then
Oh,
means
it
you
is.
can practice on yourself and you can also use it on other people. And then when you get to level 2, you could actually begin doing some professional work with it if you chose to. Um, what would you say to somebody who has heard about Reiki or they're curious, but they're just not sure? They think it's sort of woo woo or weird. What would you say to them when they're thinking about possibly taking and training in Reiki, taking a Reiki class, or having
Well,
a having a session?
first of all, I think that if someone has those ideas, like they're curious, I think that's like a nudge that you really should look
Mm,
further and deeper into it. There's something that's telling you, hey, this is something I'm curious about. Go for it. Oh my gosh, go for it. It's so worth it. I mean, even if you decide never to treat other people, the benefits that you yourself can have by taking Reiki level 1 is is so great. I mean, it's you get more out of it than just even going to someone and getting a Reiki treatment, because you really begin to understand what it's all about at a much deeper level. And yeah,
and you don't
I,
have to set an appointment, right? And go to
right,
an office and, spend extra money and all of that. I mean, you've basically
right.
got
And
your
it's one
equipment with
weekend, like
you.
2 days. Yeah. Yeah, you have your
You
equipment
got
with
your
you.
equipment with you everywhere
All
you
right.
go. And, you know, it's very true that people will find you, you know, somebody will fall down in front of you, or somebody has a headache, and you get those opportunities
Hmm.
placed in your way to help people, to share that loving
Definitely.
energy. Well, we haven't really even defined Reiki for people. We should have done that, right, Melissa? Well, you all, Reiki is a universal life force energy. Okay. Now, I'm probably thinking that a lot of you are familiar with it, and I'll probably put a comment in here that says what it is, since we just started talking about it. But it's universal life force energy. And as the first woman grandmaster, Mrs. Takata, called it, it's God's love in its purest form. I just always love that definition. It just gives me chills. You know, our world needs love. Our world
Hmm.
needs love.
And I also want to say, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you are Christian, Buddhist,
Yeah.
atheist. I mean, it doesn't matter. You know, it's all about love and sharing that. And um, yeah, it's not like woo woo, new age, really weird stuff. I mean, Duke uses it
Yeah.
for
And the
pain relief.
treatment has a particular protocol. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, and there's a reason for everything we do in the treatment. It treats all your glands. It treats, as you pointed out, it relaxes the vagus nerve,
Hmm.
which helps send signals throughout your body. It works on all your energy centers. So, you know, there's a lot happening there
Your
there's a whole
organs.
protocol. Um,
Hmm.
which is why I think, you know, it's so powerful, because there is a particular system. It is a particular system that you learn.
Yeah.
So I know, Melissa, I think we've had such a good time talking, but I want to ask you one more thing. I know that
Okay.
you love giving distant treatments. And that may, some people may say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, you can, okay, think about it. When you pray for someone, they're probably not there in the room with you. Maybe if you're at the heart, but most of the time you're praying, you're sending that energy out. And in the same respect, a distant treatment is sending that. And I know, for example, you've been sending to your sister and to some friends and to some others. And what have they said to you about these distant Reiki treatments? What differences have they been able to see?
Oh my goodness. Well, so a couple weeks ago, I actually did distance Reiki on a whole team of ice skaters, and because they were really stressed out and they were in
Mm,
competition,
mm.
and they actually skated their best skate and had the highest scores than they had had all season. Um,
Woohoo! And you told me
and
nobody
no
fell
one
down.
no one fell, and they just were confident and secure and not thinking about outside turmoil that they had
Yeah.
been undergoing. And so I that blew my mind when I heard about that. I mean, it just verifies to me how important Reiki can be to um, to do it, and it works through the distance.
And
Yeah.
focusing this positive energy, which is what
Hmm.
you learn to do
Right.
in Reiki level 1, 2, and mastership. You know, you learn to focus that energy. And it's interesting that you focused it on a group. And
Yeah.
you know, really that was very, very powerful, that they've had a really hard time, a hard season. People have been falling, they've had bad scores. But as you sent them that focused positive energy, it supported them.
It supported them.
And, you know,
Yeah.
it supported them. And that is such a powerful thing. Well, what else would you like to share that's really on your heart today before we wrap this? And I just want to thank you, by the way, because I've been talking about for I'll tell you, I'll admit, for years, about just having conversations with some of my favorite Reiki people and folks I've gotten the honor of training over the years. And you are the first coming on here.
Aw, thank
And I kind of
you.
threw you in the deep end because we immediately started talking about your dad's passing, but that
It's
story is so
okay.
powerful. Oh, wait, we got
Oh,
to add one thing.
okay.
You know, when someone is passing, and we're an animal or a person, we often feel helpless, right? But when we have Reiki, we know that we have something we can send to their soul, to their spirit, that's actually going to help their spirit make the transition. And it's going to help everyone around them. So you had a story that you told the other day at Mastership that I just maybe in there about the cat and the dogs, the cat that was
Yeah,
going to be euthanized because, would you share that story? I love that story.
sure. Okay, so my girlfriend uh, was going to euthanize her cat.
Mm,
She invited me to come over. She has 3 dogs and they're quite rambunctious. And so she
mm,
wanted me to come over and do Reiki on the dogs just to keep them quiet so she could have like the last hour before the vet came to spend time with her cat to say goodbye. And then she didn't want like the dogs running around or barking
mm,
outside when the cat was actually being euthanized. So I went upstairs to their bedroom with all 3 dogs, and they were just so excited that I was there. But I started doing Reiki, and I actually did Reiki on them for 2 hours.
mm,
And by the time the vet came, all 3 of them were laying by my side asleep. And they kind of stirred when the doorbell rang and the vet
mm,
came in, but then I called them over and they laid down and they were quiet the entire time that the vet was there. And it
mm.
just was such a blessing to my girlfriend to be able to have that time to spend
Yeah.
with her dear cat that she's had for 18 years. Um, and yeah, it frankly was a great feeling. I just had never done Reiki on an animal before.
Mm,
And so to be able to do Reiki on these 3 dogs and to actually have them calm down just
mhm.
was another affirmation that this is what I need to be doing.
And I want to just say that there were 3 of them at once.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so let me just say one dog is different because one dog will often just relax, right? But 3 dogs, they're just playing and 3 dogs, you knocked them out
I did.
in a good way. They experience that relaxation response,
Mhm.
thanks to you. And what is so beautiful about this story for me is that you created an environment of peace for her, your friend's beloved cat of 18 years, right? That's a
Mhm.
family member to make the transition. Was it a boy or a girl? I can't remember. A boy, right?
What, the cat?
Uh huh.
It was a girl cat. Yeah.
Oh, it's a girl cat. But
Mhm.
it's a beloved member of the family, and you provided peace for her and for her cat, to make that transition. And I think this is so powerful in general for when we're going to use Reiki when a cat or a dog or a loved one, like my grandmother. I got to do Reiki on my grandmother when she passed. And just to be able to be there and not feel helpless, right? Us who are there, not feel helpless, but to be able to do something that's going to give energy that provides help for that soul to make its transition is huge.
Yeah, and to
Huge.
help relieve pain and just to bring a sense of
Yes.
calmness to them so that they can let go. It's, yeah, I was able to do Reiki on my best friend's mother as she was making her
Mm,
transition into death. And that was just such a sacred, wonderful moment.
mm. Well, I think we know what one of your areas of interest and expertise in your mastership is going to be. I think we're already aware of what that will be, right?
Mm.
And it really is a divine calling, Melissa. I just want to say to you, it's a divine calling to be that person who's able to be there and stay in a place of love and hope
Mhm.
when a soul is transitioning.
Mm.
The hardest thing is when we're in a place of like, don't go,
Right.
right? And it's so important that we be able to realize that, as you've heard me say in Reiki, energy is never lost or gained. It just changes form. And we're
Right.
matter. we are energy. That's what we are. We are matter. We are energy. And
Mhm.
so we're never get, this body will end, but our 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 energy will not. And so to be
Mhm.
able to be in that state of understanding that this is not the end, right? It's not the
Mhm.
end. It's just a change of state.
That's
And
true. That's
bring
true.
love is very powerful. And I really see you. I see you already doing that, but I see you doing that more in the future.
Yeah, there's death isn't talked about enough,
Right.
as like normalizing it and talking about it just by being like the natural circle of life, and
Yeah.
that it can be a beautiful thing, actually, a passing. Um, yeah, it's
Well,
a lot of
I will have to
discussion
tell
more
you.
to do there.
Remind me to tell you about my granny story sometime. Y'all are going to have to wait, those of you who are on here. But Melissa, I just want to thank you with so much love for coming on here and sharing about gut health and sharing about how you've been using Reiki and sharing about how it helped you when you were going through grief with your dad, guilt, passing, and how you've shared it with others when their loved ones, animals and you know pets
Hmm.
have been making their transition. And I just love what you're doing. It is always my honor to have you in Reiki, and
Oh,
I can't wait for our next class.
thank you. I can't either. They're so much fun.
Hey, thank you so much. And would you put in the comments your website, would you, for Plexus, so the people who would like to get the Probio 5 that I love, that prebiotic and probiotic, oh gosh, I love that stuff. They could get it, and I know that you have other things that they can have a reset of their metabolism, etc. So pop that in the comments, because there may be someone who really wants to improve their gut microbiome and realizes, that's the key to great health. So much of depression, so much of disease is
Hmm.
from an unhealthy gut. And the studies all show this. It's all over the news. So you've
Yeah,
got
it
some
does.
great tools in your arsenal, the Reiki for sure, and also these other supplements that you offer that can help people with that.
Right. And if anybody is interested, I would be happy to give you a free 30-minute consultation just to
Oh,
hear about your
nice.
your health journey, and to see if these supplements would be a good fit or Reiki would be a good fit.
Mhm.
Yeah, my email, I'll put it down here if I can figure out how to do it, but my email is thriving
Put
health
your
again
website, because I don't want you to get
at gmail.com.
scammed. I don't want you to get
Mm,
scammed. So just put your website, because then they can contact you through that. Because sometimes, unfortunately, there are a few people who come in and they'll look for emails and then just send you lots of
oh,
dumb stuff. So just put your website, and then people can reach out that way. And thank you so much for that offer. Those of you who didn't just hear that, let me just reiterate. She said that she'd be happy to give you a 30-minute consult about the health challenges you're having, and suggest some, I'm sure you will suggest some supplements, right, that could be of assistance
if
in that.
yeah,
Yeah,
mhm,
if somebody's interested in
if they
that.
can
I
help.
always think it's so good, because, we just pop pills like crazy in this culture. People
We
just,
do.
let me get another prescription. I was working with somebody who had 14 prescriptions, Melissa.
Wow.
And
Wow.
as we worked together, she was able to whittle it down to two. And she
That's
said, this is
wonderful.
many years ago, but I'll never forget her. She said, Barnsley, you saved my life, because she came in and her life was just a mess. Everything was, she didn't feel good, had no energy, 14 prescriptions.
Well, and that
I
wreaks
don't know
havoc
how
on
she
your
even knew
gut.
when to take those. I
Wow.
mean, what would you do? Have to set 14
You have to
alarms on
have
your
a whole
cell phone?
schedule. Yeah, you do. You do.
That would be a full-time job, just taking those pills. And this is not to say, you all, those of you who are watching, we're not saying that if you do Reiki that you can go down on your drugs. However, with the assistance of a physician, I can tell you that I've had a number of clients who have been able to do that. They have been
Yeah,
able to
so have I.
reduce blood pressure medicine and so forth under the supervision
Right.
of their physician,
Correct.
because they were reducing their stress using Reiki and sometimes other things as well.
Mhm.
So, but it requires us to be responsible, right? Like to
Yes.
realize, oh, I'm responsible here. I'm responsible. So if something's going on, I get to do my part in making myself feel better, and not just go get another prescription, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
to try everything we can that's natural. And we might still need the prescription, but at least we'll also have things that support our gut health, things that support our calmness and
Hormones. Mhm.
stress relief.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Melissa, thank you
Oh,
again.
thank
Sending
you
you
for
a
having me.
big Reiki blessing, and congratulations on, was this your first interview?
Yes, it was.
Woo! Let's give her applause. Could everybody put go Melissa in the comments? You did awesomely. And look, she's so courageous. I told y'all she was courageous. So look, you see it.
Thank you,
By the
Barsley.
way, the word courageous comes from heart, coraggio, from the heart, which you definitely are, Melissa. All right, my dear, lots of love. Everybody cheer her on. Look how well she did.
Thank you,
And I'll
sweetie.
see you soon. All
All
right,
right.
everybody. Be a blessing. Remember, you are the answer to someone's prayer.